Hello from Florida. I am with the great Dr. Robert Morse today, one of my good friends and favorite all-time teachers, a mentor for me and has been for several years now. I wanted to come in and talk to you about this new paradigm, this shift that's happening. We're going from a symptom medical-based thinking to a healing, taking back your power, your spirituality, your sovereignty, your ability to heal. And at this time also, Robert Morse is helping the world by educating a lot of teachers, a lot of helpers, a lot of detox specialists. I want you to tell us a little bit, Robert, about what you're doing in that sense, about your school and who's out there to help.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, healing has always been simple. Man's mind, though, has gotten so intellectual that he keeps getting lost deeper and deeper into a world of the fabricated concept of diseases. So then they don't know how to cure them. They've made them up. They've given a set of symptoms a name, and they just don't know where they're coming from. And that's sad. Because of that unconsciousness that we have in allopathy, then we have major destruction of humans. And so the new wave you're talking about is understanding simple chemistry, simple physics, the fact that people have been eating dead animal meat, drinking lots of their milks, and cooking their foods. Major problem with all that. And we call it food sources, but by the time you destroy your foods, either by processing or cooking, it's not really a food anymore.
No, it isn't. So
this renaissance, this growth, has been going on silently. There's been different levels of this, from the natural hygienic movement, the fasting of water fasting and stuff, and having clinics and stuff. I just kicked it up another notch. I went to the fruitarian level because that's the level man is. He's a frugivore. And I added the botanical side of that. And when you add those two to the process of detoxification, because when you think about how do you get well, you first have to understand what made you sick. If you live in the world of diseases, and that concept, which is just it's a concept, it's a fabrication, it's a theory. And so as long as you play with theories, remember the world was flat, was a theory at one time, and scientifically everybody bought into it. If you didn't go along with them, you were killed, you know, that sort of thing. So we're seeing the same dark agey kind of consciousness with the medical community right now. The treatment of body symptoms by pharmaceuticals, which you learned how bad that was.
Yes.
So this whole new paradigm is understanding the cause of your problems, how you're creating that, and how you unwind that.
And that everything just is an obstruction
at
every level.
Exactly.
And that everything is energy.
Exactly.
At every level.
At every level.
Foods,
everything.
thoughts,
Yep.
Everything.
In other words, when you get to this level in the physical universe, it's a world of pure chemistry. But chemistry is just frequencies of electromagnetic energy. When you leave your physical body, you're now in the world of energy. So you take on light bodies, not heavy chemical bodies. It's a big difference. This world is very chemical. And your remedy is also very chemical, but also very energetic.
Yes.
Both of those are hand in hand. So a lot of people say, you know, I have no energy. Now, these are the easiest of cases, of course. I have no energy. I'm fatigued all the time, but I eat dead food. I cook my food. I kill all the chemistry and the energy out of it. I eat dead animals. I fill my body full of mucus with the milks. And I wonder why I'm sick.
Yeah.
And that's all acidosis and mucus congestion. And just what you said, you can bottom line everything to obstructions. And the biggest obstruction to the flow of energy in this universe is acidosis and the environment that creates.
And most people are constipated, right?
There's
no bigger obstruction than that.
All the way.
People understand that kind of obstruction.
That kind of obstruction. But this constipation is within a system that very few of you were ever taught about, and that the medical doctors know very little about, yet all the cancers are in this system. And that's the lymphatic system.
Yes.
All the cancers are lymphomas. So what does that tell you? The lymphatic system is your body's sewer system. And medical doctors never studied sewage. We deal with sewage all the time because we go into the body and clean, which we call detoxification. We go in and clean and hydrate. We remove these acids or proteins, all the mucus, and we rebuild tissue.
Yeah, so we let life and health come in. So what we're doing is actually not focusing on any type of disease or obstruction per se. We're focusing on building health.
Right.
And to have a clean, nice house, you have to take out the waste.
You have to take out the waste.
Yeah.
Like if you have heavy metal toxicity, how do you get remedy of that? You don't take a pharmaceutical to treat it. You have to detox it out of your body. This detoxification was done by nature back when animals, back when plants were first formed. All life goes through detoxification, even plants.
Yeah, nature's perfect.
Nature's
you cannot
perfect.
improve on it.
You can't.
That's when you get into trouble, when you try to improve on nature.
That's it. And you can't second guess this. Like in our world of chemistry, we don't even go along with nature's chemistry. Man has his own theories. And it's like theories. God already created the earth.
I know.
We're already living beings. Plants are, but we're lost in our minds intellectualism. You have to be careful with too much intellectualism because you'll get lost.
To the point where fruit is not good for you.
To the point where simple fruit, which is what frugivores, in other words, Homo sapiens and primates, that's their central food, our central food, and yet people are scared of fruits.
Yeah.
That's scary when you're scared of fruits and you'll go to a dead animal meat, which you have no idea eating a dead animal, what that does to you inside of your body, rips your calcium out of your body, acidifies the body, putrefies, gives you body odor. You don't have body odor when you're a raw foodist, when you eat your fresh food.
Just think about what it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
if you see a monkey eating a banana, you're not going to look at the monkey thinking, oh, food.
Yeah, exactly.
You look at the banana saying, food.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's a good point.
If you look at a cow, if you see a cow, you don't get hungry.
You know, the sad thing about this, and this was a sad thing, and it's interesting you bring this up because the other day I was somewhere and there was this cattle and there was this young kid, and I'm looking at that and I said, you don't see those as food, do you? And he goes, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that young man saying, you know, I was raised farming, and I never looked at our farm animals as meat. I never did. I looked at them as friends.
Most humans do.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
If you start realizing you don't have to kill your food to eat it, but that's a big hurdle to overcome because people are so steeped in killing their foods and cooking their foods that.
But they still have to cook it and spice it and everything, and then they say that it tastes so good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, try this. Yeah. Try having just a piece of steak or chicken or something like that with nothing on it. Just raw. That's how you're supposed to eat meat, is raw. Yeah. Just eat it raw. And that's your most electrical and chemical.
Yeah. Any cooking is very unnatural. And
unnatural.
Still out there's information saying that raw food is not good for you or that you need cooked food. Like cooking anything would add anything to it.
I know, it's ridiculous thinking, but macrobiotics kind of got into that because vegetables are hard for humans to digest because it's wrong food for humans. That's herbivore food. Yep. Horses, cows, elephants.
You can have a little bit of the tender leafy greens, herbs.
The cucumbers. You can have the veggie fruits.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You could. And that's what I do.
You know, you can eat a little bit of
that.
that.
And flowers. You can eat the flowers. But when you get into these heavy greens, these are very hard to digest. Yes. Look at the design of a herbivore, which say a cow or a horse, and they're grinders. We don't have teeth like them. We don't have hooves. We don't have a GI tract that long. We don't have multiple stomachs in our body. We have nothing to show that we can break up vegetable matter. Now, if you're pretty healthy, you can digest it pretty good, but the average person poops vegetable matter out their back end. They just don't digest it well.
And we're pickers. We have hands to pick.
We have hands to pick.
Yep.
We don't have anything aggressive that shows that we can rip something apart and kill it, nor do we have the consciousness. I mean, you do have low-end consciousness in the humans, but we have to work that out. That's
an obstruction.
That's an obstruction.
I think it's an obstruction.
It is an obstruction to the flow of the human consciousness. Yeah.
Yes.
Human state.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what can people do today when they are searching for helpers? I'm one of those that you have educated. So what have you taught these detox specialists that they call themselves, that we call ourselves out there? What can they help with?
Well,
what have you taught them?
We tend to be raised in America. Now, this is around the world. We deal all around the world.
Sadly,
everywhere.
It's the same everywhere.
But the medical is, pretty much got the same kind of thinking everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll just say that one has to kind of look around and see how sick man is, and that he's been using medical thinking for how long, and the death rate that's taking place under that level of thinking.
Yeah.
So I discovered how simple wellness is. And so I developed a school 25 years ago, maybe, or 30 years ago.
And it's a great school. Everybody should come, really.
Yeah, I do. I have lay people. I have medical. I have chiropractic.
All
massage,
ages.
All ages, all the time. But it's simply learning the simplicity of being and getting well, and how easy it is. And I can teach anybody how to take anyone from any state of decay, of mutation, of any way, and rebuild them completely.
True
and you're
freedom.
a good example. Exactly. And so many of you guys are proving that. We were looking at Jermaine's eyes today, and it's just more aggressive changes. She has no more nerve rings.
Yeah, perfect.
She has all her genetic weaknesses are disappearing.
Right.
So and yours is doing the same thing too. I mean, you guys are right down into regeneration of tissue, and that's what we're at today, because you have to start and understand.
We're rewriting the genes.
We rewrite. You have to,
Yeah.
because the genetic weaknesses of the human cell right now is at the so low that kids are being mutated constantly coming out. Matter of fact, you're seeing children. We're getting calls with children that were born with cancer cells in them.
Yes.
That means that the parent cell was already atypical. And did that little acidosis for 9 months, threw it right over, see?
Yeah. Well, we know this on one level. Everybody knows this.
Yes.
I mean, what happens when a drug addict gives birth to a child?
That's true.
You know?
There you go.
We have an addict.
There you go.
It has to go on detox.
There you go. But what they haven't thought about in what she's saying, diet does the same thing.
Of course.
You just talked about drugs. It's also about wrong eating. Wrong eating does the same thing as taking drugs.
Yeah.
And now you have to go into the body, clean out all these acids and mucus, which causes inflammation. And then, of course, the damage to the cell, which is then called cancer, or whatever medical doctors call damaged cells.
And when I went to school when I was young, there was no asthma. There was no asthma. There was no diabetes too, among children. Yep. So it's escalating.
Oh, yeah. It's like
each generation getting weaker.
Weaker and weaker and weaker.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we watch the kidneys and the adrenals in the children, and they're so down. Digestively, they're so down. They have the new Nitin procedure where the babies, of course, humans are not designed for high protein and high lipid or fat diets. That's a big no-no for humans. For any animal, actually, can't handle. Even bears can't handle high protein diets. If you give your dog a high protein diet, he'll get rectal bleeding. You have to be real careful about proteins. We have a society that pushes them, but that's because they're local.
Yeah. And people don't understand what protein is.
Yes,
they
that's
think
true.
you have to take a muscle from an animal and that is protein.
Yeah.
They don't get that proteins are amino acids. And that animal that you're eating the muscle from had to get it from the same source.
Exactly.
From the cow. It ate grass.
Exactly.
So you're eating someone... And then you think you eat that muscle, and that's something you need.
Yeah.
Your body has to rip it apart, find the amino acids, and all that waste
and acids
goes right to the kidneys. I mean, all that metabolic waste from
if it can make it there.
If it can make it
if
there.
it can make it there, because what you said about obstructions means that the lymph system is obstructed in most people. Therefore, waste don't get to the kidneys.
Yeah.
Or if they do, most people lost kidney filtration.
Yes.
So now what? Everybody is getting acidosis. Acidosis, there's only two sides of chemistry. Remember this, there's only two sides of chemistry. You're either acidic or alkaline. When you have a symptom, you can, from a chemical viewpoint, say, what side of chemistry am I on right now? So when you feel pain, you feel stiff and tight, that's all acidosis.
Yep.
And then from that leads you into extreme pain, your arthritises. It leads you into the decay of the cell, then into your cancers, then into forming tumors and stuff like this.
Depression. Anxiety.
Oh, the whole 9 yards. Everything. Everything you can imagine. Medical doctors like to refer these to diseases and treat them with pharmaceuticals, which is a costly and oftentimes deadly procedure for the patient.
And nobody gets well.
And no one gets well.
No one gets well.
No one gets
they
well.
They keep coming back for more.
And that's amazing to me that they do.
It is.
Once you go to a doctor and you can't get well and you've been on their drugs or whatever you're on and you don't feel better in a short order, why do you stay that way? Well, out of fear.
Yeah.
And this is a big thing, and you lost your fear. And so did a lot of the YouTubers have lost their fear, and they drove right into it, and look at the benefits you all are getting. You're simply reversing how you created the problem.
Yes.
Well, the problem is most of you don't realize that you're creating this problem yourself. You just weren't told how and why. We live in a world about finances. So we have the Dairymen's Association, the Cattlemen's Association, and you're not going to hear anything but this is good food from them.
Yeah. And I love this about you created it yourself, because a lot of people would be defensive about that because then they feel blame. I feel empowerment.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you made this?
Yeah.
That means you can unmake it.
That's it.
That means you have the power.
Good point.
That is the greatest point. And what this good man, Dr. Morse, told me most of all is the simplicity behind this. There is simplicity because there really is no disease. It is all the same thing. But at the same time, there is an art of detoxification, meaning that having a good hand to guide you going through this, because there's a lot of information on the internet and it can be very confusing for someone to work with you and to be able to spot your weaknesses and to make this journey easier and to rebuild your self power, kind of to be, you know, an empowering friend is very important.
It is. And, you know, this might sound a little bold, but I will put all you class grads against any medical doctor, against any chiropractor, any naturopath out there in your ability to heal people. Oh. I'll tell you right now.
The big words.
Go out there, but you go look. Look at what Shane's doing. Look at what some of you guys are doing with others.
I see amazing changes in people.
Let me tell you, what you guys are doing, medical doctors only dream of being able to do. Naturopaths are only dreaming because they are now falling into the same medical thinking of high proteins and bullcrap. You guys know what's happening, how to fix people, how to run them through detoxification, how to work them through that. You know how to explain their problems. You know how to tell just what's going on with them, and I'm real proud of every one of you. You guys know the truth. You know the chemistry a little bit. You know the physics of things. It's just like, it's amazing.
And we're going after true health, which is true freedom. That is true freedom.
That is true freedom.
You cannot feel free in a diseased body. Anybody been there knows that.
Yep.
So that's what we're going after right now.
Yeah, and if you're spiritual and you like out-of-body traveler, or you like to expand your consciousness and things like that, you're on the
I know, and it's hard to separate, isn't it?
You can't.
You can't. You can start on either end.
Yeah.
I always say that. It's spiritual. Well, it is. Start with the fruits. See what happens.
Exactly.
You know?
It's funny because you can't. You're into God. You're eating the nectar that God
Once
made.
The obstructions
call it
goes.
nature. Absolutely.
Then those obstruction goes as well.
Well, here's the thing.
So
you'll tap. I said this before. Now Jermaine's feeling more energy than she has in a long time, and she even's looking at that. You're looking more energetic, and I'm looking at some. And now we're getting people like our friend here, Ian, who started out very thin, malabsorbed, and now he's a trainer, he's a fitness buff, he's an incredible dude, and it's just showing you he ran himself through detoxification, we ran him through that, we fixed his malabsorption, now he's absorbing his nutrients, he's getting his amino acids from his vegetables, see the vegetables, and now he is major.
But where does he get his protein?
Oh my God! Again, and she brings up an excellent point. Get rid of the word protein and you'll be happy ever after. And I'll give you this challenge.
You can never eat protein really because the body is who makes the protein.
Well, I'll give you this challenge. 2 weeks, raw foods.
Yeah.
Raw foods for 2 weeks.
Mostly fruit.
Just for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? And then go out and get yourself a meal of meat and potatoes and then see how you feel.
That'll hurt.
Just 2 weeks. Go 2 weeks on fruits and veggies and melons.
Berries.
And berries.
Yes.
Just for 2 weeks. That's all you eat. Eat all you want. Eat all you want, as much as you want, but that's all you're eating out of your produce section. And then go out and have you a normal meal of steak and potatoes or whatever, and you tell me how you feel.
Yeah.
You'll begin to see. Your body will go, oh, I love it. Oh, I'm feeling so good. And then wham! You know, you have to be real careful.
I think the real challenge here is not that people don't know. They know this. But why is it so hard for so many to let go of that old programming, that taste, that addiction, because it is an addiction.
It is.
You know, cheeses, they're terrible. It's like...
Everything's addicting here.
Yeah.
You know, when
people are addicted. It's like they...
Yeah. Yeah. It's, you know what? I call it one thing, and I've been on the video for a lot of years talking about this called the mind.
Yes.
The mind is your mind is trainable. Governments know this. A lot of people know that if they train your mind right, they own you. So you have to watch your mind. Now that sounds weird, but one holy man came up to me one day and he said, if you stop thinking and you stop talking, there's nothing you won't know.
Yes.
In other words, quit chasing your mind of thoughts. Stop thinking and you'll see everything because your awareness is what creates the mind. So consciousness is simply pure awareness. So stop thinking. Spend a day just watching things. Don't think. When a thought comes in, stop it and just spend a day watching, observing life around you and how you interact. Stop chasing thoughts, and you'll be surprised how big you start to see yourself and how much truth starts pouring in, because you now have closed the door to thoughts, which you have to follow your thoughts in your attention, and now your attention is totally in ability to see 360 degrees around you.
And like a very, very wise man said to me, he said, every thought is an obstruction.
Every thought is get that.
You said that. You said that.
I know. And it's true.
Okay, but
how about emotions? That's also
emotions. Very interesting.
At some level or another, they're obstructive. Absolutely.
Okay. We have to say bye for now.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.